Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm going to be here in my garden this time because the afternoon is really nice and I didn't want to be inside. So sorry for the noise outside. The streets are always busy around here. So let's see if this works. I wonder if you have seen work from this photographer in the last few weeks. I'm talking about Szilveszter Mako, which he's an Hungarian photographer based in Italy, in Milan. And I think since December, I saw some of his work because my sister, she was very excited to see those pictures. And she pointed out to me the work and immediately she said, I want some photos like that. So she's always telling me what she likes and some things that she believes that could go with my style as well. And of course, because she likes the way images are also done. So sometimes she challenges me to see if I can create something like that. But anyway, apart from that, I already knew some of the work from this photographer, but the truth is that I always forget names of photographers. I do remember the images, of course, but when you ask me about the name, I'm not always very sure of the name of the photographer. And I have to say that I do like his work. It has a very unique look and unique aesthetic, which is, of course, something that talks about how the photographer has evolved through their career. And it's really nice to see all the evolution of or different portfolios that he has with people and how he creates all these images that have everyone fascinated, especially this last week, because I don't know if you've seen images from the actress Elle Fanning. These are really nice compositions because they are really colorful and they have this whimsical aesthetic to them that make them very attractive. But in December, I believe it's when I also saw some of his work with portraits that he created for the First Lady of New York. And these ones have a very different look because they are almost monochrome and they are a bit more geometrical, which I really like. I do love the geometrical side of his work. So let's see. There are some things that I wanted to discuss his work because I find that in this time of photography where everything is about the camera and AI and everything that you can do to catch the attention of the viewer, it's really challenging to create images that really make us stop and see and admire them. So I was reading about his work and how he works. There's not much to know out there because I think he's very secretive of how he creates his images, which is okay. I mean, no, not everyone has to tell you everything about their process and how to create images. I know as a photographer, it's always good to know what they are doing. I mean, I like knowing some insights on how certain images are created. But this time, I just know that he creates his images using natural light, which can also be very challenging because there's just enough hours of the day that you can create images using natural light. And also that he likes to recycle things to create these beautiful ensembles, these beautiful sets and compositions using different materials, which I also appreciate because I am someone that also likes the challenge to create things out of nothing sometimes, and the results are mostly really, really great. So that's something that I like about his work, the softness that he has in his images because there are no sharp shadows or this aesthetic that looks very digital in a sort of way. No, it looks more like a painting, because I understand he likes this Renaissance aesthetic or something that emulates a painting, which is something that a lot of photographers do, because it's a different kind of lighting, a different kind of vibe that you can portray in a certain way and create a style out of it. I also like working with natural light, but honestly, I mostly do it with artificial light, the strobes and everything. But the way that I sometimes work, especially when I do self-portrait, is to do it in a way that feels almost like it's a natural light. So for that way, I mean, it's kind of challenging to work only with natural light. But I believe that he at the place of his career, I imagine, I don't know, that he has a lot of things available to create these sets, these compositions with geometric images like squares and rounds and cutouts and fabrics and all these backgrounds that are very painterly. So everything, I mean, it's not just like he's going to sit around and paint a background like I do, of course, because I don't have a team like that. But I mean, it's nice to have people around you that can help you create all these compositions that you have in your mind. So what do you think? Tell me, is this something that you would like to create or maybe emulate or take some parts of his work and see if it works for you? Like, I don't know, creating portraits that feel more like a painting than a picture? Maybe. I don't know. I think the style that we pursue, it's very personal. Personally, I do like the style of creating images that look a little bit more painterly, because sometimes I don't like showing in my images that much sharpness. I like keeping things really simple aesthetically, because I feel that sometimes the feeling of an image to look overly processed is not something that speaks to me. But of course, that's why every photographer has a different style. I also, it caught my attention, especially now that I'm restarting the semester at university. And of course, I was updating all my slides and everything that I teach my students. And we were talking about fine art photography. And of course, part of creating fine art images is that you have an idea and you go for it. And you don't have to answer to anyone about the decisions on how you create something, a composition, how you edit and how you present it, or where you are going to present it. And along with this line, I was doing some updating on my slides about the history of photography. And I was looking at some daguerreotypes, and his images remind me a lot of antique processes of photography, especially the ones that he did for the First Lady of New York, which have definitely that look, that sepia tones, very muted, and this graphic aesthetic. It sounds something like that, like a very stiff at the same time that the images have movement. And I believe that it's something that really translate in the way he creates portraits, that even that photography, it's a medium that strives for the stillness. Sometimes it has movement with all the shapes and the forms that he creates with the body, with lighting. So I found it very refreshing to see images that look not very digital or very new, of course, but they look like an antique process. So I was thinking that maybe I will try to do something inspired in his work, especially the last one that he did with Elle Fanning, because when I saw the images, I said, okay, I do have a backdrop that I painted. Of course, I did it. I bought the paints, I painted the fabric and everything. It looks really, really nice. And also I have a dress that it's quite similar to that one. So I think I can recreate something of that style, which will be very fun to see. Is it possible? I don't know if I'm going to do it during the day, only using natural light, because, well, I have to do other things during the day. And it's been raining sometimes, so I think it's not very it will be very daring for me if I do it during the day. And I like doing it inside the studio, because I already know how to place my lights to create this effect of natural light by using strobes. So I think I'm going to take on that challenge. Of course, because my sister also wants portraits with this style, so it will be a nice chance first to try it on myself and then trying on the images that she wants portraits for herself. Okay, so tell me, what do you think? Is this something that you like, this style? Have you tried creating images that look something like a painting? Or, for example, are you a fan of a certain type of photography, or creating digital images that look like film? Maybe that's another part that we can explore during this process. Anyway, I do love his work. I like the images that he created for Willem Dafoe, Kate Blanchett, and so many others, with campaigns and the colors and the textures. I like also that his images, they don't look a lot they have a lot of texture, because visual texture is so important in photography. But the way that he handles natural light is also allowing him to create this contrast that is not so much that you can see very defined shadows. You have a lot of contrast because he uses a lot of blacks and whites and shadows in between. But anyway, his look is very reminiscent of this film noir, or the early stages of film, which also reminds me a lot of Mexican films, really old, the golden age of film here in Mexico, because they have all this kind of aesthetic, which, of course, if you like black and white photography and all this glamorous style, is going to be something that appeals to you. Well, anyway, I'm going to leave you with some images so you can check out his work. And tell me, do you want me to talk about any other photographer that you like? I do like watching a lot of images and discussing, well, what we see, and if we like it, we don't like it, what can be learned from the process and from the photographer. So see you the next time, probably with a photo shoot. So keep in touch and subscribe, of course, if you want to know more about photography and just, I don't know, talk about anything that comes around this week. See you next time. Big hug.